So people often ask me, what is the best prop firm out there? And honestly, I wouldn't say there's like a one size fits all answer because certain prop firms have certain advantages and other prop firms have different advantages, right? It really depends what you value as a trader. So today I want to talk about two prop firms, Alpha Futures and Tradeify. I'm going to go through what I like and dislike about both companies. And I'm also going to explain what type of trader will be better suited for each firm. So with no further ado, I'm going to go through their website. I'm going to explain all the rules. We're going to go through the plan types and I'm going to give my complete honest thoughts on both firms. So let's get right over to it. So first, we're going to talk about Tradeify. And just so you guys are aware, if at any point you decide to pick up any accounts with either Tradeify or Alpha Futures, you're welcome to use my discount code, which is code TIMB272. It's going to get you whatever the best current discount is at that prop firm. I'm sure you guys can see it on that top bar. I'm also going to put the link to both firms as well as my discount code in that pinned comment in case you guys forget it. But this is their website, right? So after you'd click that link, this is pretty much what you'd see. So on the top, they have how it works, they have pricing, Tradeify TV, Help Center, which the Help Centers essentially they're like FAQs, which we're probably going to be in here later because I always look in here when I'm wondering certain things about a firm. And then you can also join their Discord. You can sign in or sign up where it says get funded pretty much. And one thing I want to mention while I'm here is if you look in the top, they also have Tradeify Crypto, right? Which I know you can technically trade crypto with like some crypto futures at Alpha, but I feel like it's kind of limited. This is actually a crypto division of a prop firm, which I think is really interesting. Not many people have an offering like that. So that's definitely one con. They have like this Tradeify crypto division. But I think I said con, I meant pro. But I think it's interesting. They got this like UFC vibe kind of going on. You can click here how it works. Here's a rough explanation, right? You sign up, pick an evaluation or go lightning funded, trade 4 days, then you can earn daily payouts or 5-day payouts depending on the plan. Then you get paid and they'll pay you out in 60 minutes, which obviously everyone wants to get paid fast. And they have some like endorsements from like Yahoo Finance, I guess, and other places. So the first pro I'll talk about is I really like they have a built-in like calendar. I feel like it's really good. Like certain people pay for things such as like TradeZella, right? Different trading journals. They use Notion and they sit here racking their brain trying to figure out these Notion documents. But here, this is all built in and it's going to carry across the different accounts too. So like if you have multiple accounts, it'll show all these combined here. So like this is pretty much what the P&L calendar looks like. Ironically, they're actually doing some maintenance on it right now. So I can't show you guys it in action. But I feel like this graphic right here just shows you exactly how it works, right? You can click each day, add notes. You can do trade tagging. So when you go in the trade journal here, you can select the trade, add tags. So like, let's say if I want to look and I'm like, okay, well, if I only took trades with an S&T, how would that affect my win rate, right? So it's kind of cool that prop firms allowing you to like improve as a trader, like literally inside the prop firm dashboard. Because like, don't get me wrong, I feel like Alpha does have a good dashboard, but in my opinion, their dashboard is not as good as this. Like, look at all this information. This is literally all the information you'd get in like TradeZella, which is like a paid platform. So number one for my pro, I think they have a great dashboard. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit more and we're going to talk about the account types. So that's going to bring me into the next pro. So first, I want to talk about my favorite thing about Tradeify, honestly. I love the select plan. Like that is my favorite offering from them by far. So the 50K select plan, I typically trade 50K, so we're going to talk about 50Ks. I mean, I'll show you guys the other offerings as well, but for this select 50 plan, they call it the select plan because it's going to give you the option of choosing two different payout paths. So you can either choose daily payouts or you can choose flex, which is kind of similar to Top Step's old plan where like you only need like 5 winning days and then you have like the max payout cap. So one thing I like about the select plan on the 50K, I feel like it's really easy to pass. Like typically the profit target is $3,000, but if you pay attention here, the profit target is actually only $2,500. So it's $500 less you need to make. I feel like the way that it kind of balances out is they give you a 40% consistency rule. So I feel like a lot of firms, like they might have 50% where you can pass in 2 days, but here, since it's 40, that actually forces you to pass in 3 days. So that's why they say like funding in 3 days for the select because of that consistency rule. Overall, I will happily take a 40% consistency rule on the eval because there's a lowered profit target. I only have to make 2.5 instead of 3, and I get the option of choosing daily payouts or I can get a nice plan where all I need is 5 winning days and I have no consistency on the funded, and then I can have a payout cap of 3K, right? Because honestly, I love accounts when there's no consistency on the funded. Because honestly, consistency on a funded account can honestly be really annoying as a trader. Like, I know on paper it doesn't seem that bad, but as you like do more trading, you really learn it can be annoying. And I like the daily payout option, right? So they do add this $1,000 daily loss limit, but honestly, I'm not risking more than $1,000 a day, to be honest. Doesn't really affect me. But yeah, I just think it's really cool you get the option, right? Like, and it depends. Like, if you're going for a higher payout, you select the flex. If you're going for smaller payouts more frequently, right, daily, right, you get options. But the other plan type that I like that they have is the lightning plan. So me personally, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the lightning. I mean, I know I said that I like the option being there, but I'm not the biggest fan in general of straight to funded accounts. So essentially the way this works is you'll buy the 50K, right? Or you buy whatever account size you want. And then oh, real quick, on the select plan, in case you guys were wondering, these are the stats for the 100K. So it's 6K to 3K to pass. So that's pretty much industry standard. But then for the daily, you can get your payout up to like 1.5 and you can get a 4K payout. And then this is the 100K. So I mean, you can just pause and look here if you want, but I feel like the 50K for the select really stands out to me. It's not overall my favorite, but the lightning, right? So you pretty much buy this account. It's essentially straight to funded. Like once you buy this account, you literally are funded instantly, just like it says right here. So the reason a lot of traders like this is if you're really confident in your trading or you just want every trade you take to count toward a payout, this is why you choose the lightning funded, right? But the main thing I don't like about it is it has this 20% consistency rule. So like I was talking about before, like I really don't like consistency rules on funded accounts. So I feel like that right there, it really limits you. Like you have to have a lot of winning days to actually profit with these accounts. I'm not the biggest fan of that. And even if you go to the help center, right? And we'll search like payout lightning, right? So here's all the rules for how to get paid out. And I mean, if you guys ever have any questions about either firm, they both have a very descriptive help center. So you can just go in here and search whatever you want. And I feel like at both firms, the rules are very clear. But so you got to meet 20% consistency rule. If you don't understand the consistency rule, they explain it here. But I'm kind of hoping you guys understand this by now. But so profit goal for accounts purchased after September 12th. So that would apply to us. So let's say if I bought the 50K, they want me to make 3K profit and then I have to follow 20% consistency rule. At that point, I'm eligible for a payout. But there is a payout cap. So yeah, the payout cap here is 2,000 for payout 1, and then they kind of increase. I'm sorry, they increase as you go further, but they only increase for 4+ payouts really. But that's all the rules of lightning funded. But so they have all these different offerings though. And on top of that, they even have the growth. So the growth, they give you a good explanation of what each plan is. So the growth is like a 1-day pass. So the drawback of that is once you get to the funded, you do have a 35% consistency rule, which in my opinion, honestly, is a little heavy. I think it would make a lot more sense to just take the consistency rule in the evaluation stage and then use the select plan to have no consistency in the funded. But I mean, to each their own. Some people really like full porting news and passing in 1 day. Like, if you like doing that, whatever, this plan fits you, right? It's a little cheaper. But these are the 3 different offerings at Tradeify. I'm also going to talk about, there's one other thing that I really like that is in their rules where it's about their live conditions, right? They actually state in their rules, if we kind of zoom in here, see it says eligibility for Tradeify elite accounts. Elite account's pretty much like a live account. So they actually explicitly state there is no limit to how many times the trader can be transitioned to live, which honestly is a breath of fresh air for me. Because I feel like a lot of firms, like for example, Top Step, they've literally put it in the rules where if you're purposely cycling through the live account and failing it and then going back to the eval, they literally make that a bannable offense. Where it's like at the end of the day, it's like as a trader, I want to do what's best for me to make money, right? So it's really cool. They've literally put in stone here, like not in stone, but they've bolded in their rules, right? This is how we operate. You can do that, which I think is really cool. They pretty much just put that set in stone. And the last thing I like about Tradeify is they currently have no gold trading restrictions. So other firms such as Alpha Futures, I understand why they do it because like metals have been going absolutely crazy lately. But firms like My Fund Futures, Top Step, and Alpha Futures, they have put some restrictions on gold trading. And I actually recently got into gold trading, so I wasn't the biggest fan of that. So one thing I like is Tradeify has absolutely no restrictions currently. I mean, obviously they have their regular restrictions like what it was before, but they didn't introduce any additional restrictions during these times. So that's one thing I like about Tradeify. But I've listed all the pros that I have for Tradeify. Obviously, I mean, I probably missed some, but these was the first ones that come to mind. So now I want to talk about the cons of Tradeify because obviously, like no prop firm is like perfect where every single thing is lined up for the trader, right? So number one, the website only updates once a day currently. So they are like updating the journal. I don't know if maybe they'll fix this sometime soon if that has something to do with that. But essentially, like when that rollover time, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the market closes for like an hour, that right there is when they update the dashboard. So let's say if I trade the Asia Open at 6 p.m., I have to wait almost a full 24 hours for the dashboard update. So like let's say if I pass an account, it's not going to register I pass that account until like the rollover at 6 p.m., which like it's not the end of the world. Like obviously I can wait. It's not a big deal, right? I mean, but it's something that's a little annoying where like for example at Alpha, like they recognize when you pass accounts like a lot quicker. Now, the other con that I have, honestly, I feel like this one is a lot bigger of a con. So it does trade back. I'm sorry, it ties back to their live account, right? So yes, they do say you can transition to live as many times as you like. It's like, okay, that's great. But the thing is, once you get transitioned to live, it says all sim accounts closed, right? You're moved to live. And the thing is, once you read it carefully, like elite live accounts include fixed drawdowns, expanded contract limits, and no daily loss limit. So like, yeah, I feel like when you read between the fine print here, there's something that a lot of traders missed out on. So if I have a 50K elite account, I have a $2,000 end of day trailing drawdown, which is fixed. Like they're saying when you move to live, you're going to have $2,000, right? So what if I had 10K in balance, right? So we're going to use their chatbot. So I think I asked about it once before. So the one thing that really sets this up essentially is if you read here, it says a trader becomes eligible for Tradeify Live once they meet the requirements. It says 5 total payouts since the last live transition, which is different wording than a lot of other firms use. And it says it's measured from your either last live transition or since your first purchase if you've never been live before. So this raises 2 questions for me, right? So one, I said, so I have a question. Let's say I'm trading a 50K select account. Let's say I run up a big balance. When I get moved to live, do I just get the 2K and nothing else? Like what happens to the rest of the balance? So it's saying the system works differently. You get 0. It literally capitalized ZERO balance carried forward. Elite Live starts fresh with capital provided by us. It's like, okay, it's nice you're providing me capital, but so I asked too, I said, with daily payout accounts, can you request, like daily payouts? Is it end of day? And then it says you have to wait until the dashboard shows you're eligible, which would be the end of day, right? So I was just thinking, I was like, I'm just thinking, let's say I run up a big balance in a daily payout account. Could Tradeify technically move me to live before I request a big payout? Like, are things like that handled special? Like, can I have a final payout request before I move to live? And then it says, yes, Tradeify can technically move you to Elite Live at any time once you're eligible, even if you have a large balance buildup. So it says, what's that means for your large balance? If you have a huge balance in your select daily account and you get selected for Elite Live before you request, that balance is essentially lost. So it says Elite Live starts fresh with our trading capital, 0 balance carried over. There's no final payout option, just talking about timing, right? So essentially what it's saying, right? Now, obviously, I don't expect Tradeify to just be doing traders dirty. Like, I haven't heard bad things about Tradeify, but it just... One of the reasons I like the daily payout account is because if you think, right, based on what I just said, I could get an account, I could get 4 payouts, blow the account, then I get a fresh account, I get one single payout. Because as a trader, because at other firms, they count how many payouts you need before you go live on an account basis, but they're doing it on a trader basis. So because I get a fresh account, it's got one payout. Any account with one payout or more is eligible to move to live. So I could run up a big balance. And like, let's say if I did the select plan, it's a possibility I could get moved to live and the balance I had could be forfeited and I'd be moved to live, which honestly is something that I personally wouldn't be that happy about. So it's like, I love that Tradeify has daily payouts. I love that Tradeify has straight to funded. I like a lot of things they have. For me, this is honestly the main drawback. So that was pretty much my thoughts on Tradeify. So I'm going to explain all my thoughts on Alpha Futures, and then at the end, I'm going to do a conclusion, just giving my final thoughts. So let's move over to Alpha real quick. So now it's time to talk about Alpha Futures. So in case you guys forgot, discount code TIMB272 is going to get you the best current discount at both prop firms, Tradeify and Alpha Futures. But for my pros and cons of Alpha. So the first pro that I have is honestly, they're a very high rated company. If you look at their Trustpilot rating, they have an average of 4.9 stars with almost 2,800 reviews, right? That's honestly an amazing rating. I look at Trustpilots very often for like prop firm reviews. So we'll just look at Tradeify real quick. So at this current moment in time, Tradeify is a 4.6. So Tradeify still has a great rating. I mean, 4.6 is great. It's just Alpha has a little bit better of a rating, and they also have more reviews, so they have bigger sample size. So overall, in terms of like customer ratings, right, they're maybe slightly a little higher rated, but they're both good rated, right? So let's see what Alpha says, right? So why would you trade with them? They have the largest payout cap, right? It says the industry standard has become like 1.2 to 5K, right? But for the standard and advanced accounts, they have a $15,000 payout cap per account. So theoretically, if you get 3 standard or advanced accounts, get max payout on each, that is literally a $45,000 payout. Absolutely insane, right? One of the largest virtual payout caps, one of the best drawdowns in the industry, which another thing is too, when you look at these accounts, the like on the 50K, 3K to 2K is a normal ratio, but when you go to the 100K, at most firms, like for example, at Tradeify, I feel like most of the plans they had, like with the profit target being $6,000 on the 100K, they gave you a $3,000 drawdown, but here you're actually getting 4,000. Essentially, you get 4% drawdown across all plans, where typically you only get 4% on the 50K, and they usually give you 3% for the 100K and the 150K. So you get a little bit of extra drawdown in Alpha. And just like Tradeify, they do have 3 separate plans. So the first plan I'm going to go over is my favorite plan, which is the zero plan. So the zero plan is a cheaper offering. So the cheapest offering, if you are just really poor, you want whatever is cheapest, right? It is going to be the Alpha Futures Zero plan, because before any discount, it's going to be $99, which is kind of close to the current price of the growth account at Tradeify. So if we just real quick go to Tradeify again, right? We go to growth, which is the cheapest 50K. It's going to be $97 a month, which technically is $2 less than this, but discount code TIMB272 at Alpha Futures is always going to get you at least 10% off. Sometimes it gets you a little more, but essentially that means this is going to be $89 with no activation fee. And also, I forgot to mention with Tradeify, none of these accounts have an activation fee here. But so the zero plan has no activation fee, so it's $89 all in. It's the cheapest option we've talked about here. Maximum position size up to 3 contracts. Drawdowns 2,000, and the resets are even $79, which is a little cheaper. The only drawback here is, I mean, there's no consistency on the evaluation, so it's 1 day pass, but on the funded account, there is 40% consistency. So, another thing, like I was talking about before, is they have their standard accounts. These have a higher payout cap. So like on paper, these might look cheaper. Like you might say, oh, look at this. This is $79. Like Tim said, the zero plan's cheapest. Why do you say that? But this has no activation fee. Keep in mind, these have an activation fee, right? So the activation fee is going to be, see, all analysts pay a one-time activation fee of $149. So that means pay $80 past it, you're still paying $149 on top of the $80. So all in, it is not the cheapest, but you do get other advantages with the standard account. where you get like a higher max contract size. And I feel like one of the main attractions though is the higher payout cap. Yeah, and the only thing to keep in mind here is with the zero plan, there actually is a 90% profit split, but on the standard, it's actually going to start at 70%. Then, if you're like an amazing trader, right? Like if you're an absolutely just, you milk these prop firms, I think the advanced plan is really what you should be looking at here. The advanced plan by far is the hardest to pass. Like for 50K, they give you a drawdown of 1,750 and the profit target is $4,000. So like ratio wise, that is the hardest challenge to pass by far. And if you go to the 100K and like the 150Ks, like it's like kind of the same ratio, right? Just very hard to pass these. But why would you choose these accounts? They're more expensive, harder to pass, but they basically give you a lot of freedom. Like see, it says hold through news. You can literally hold through news on the evaluation and the funded account with these advanced accounts. So like, and there's no scaling plan also. So like sometimes you have to work up to your max position size, but here you're just going to get access to your max position size instantly. So like if you want free reign, you want as much freedom as possible, the advanced plans are where it's at. Up to a 15K payout cap on 3 accounts. That's only 45K at once. Absolutely crazy, right? So another thing I like about Alpha Futures is before, when I was talking about Tradeify, how sometimes the accounts take a little bit to register in the dash. Here at Alpha, they honestly register, in my experience, within an hour. And then you can see, oh, I skipped over this. They have like $75,000 qualified analysts, more than 25 million paid in performance fees, and they said the average performance fee payout time is like 5 hours because Alpha Futures does pay out pretty quick. Both firms do pay out quick. It's just the main holdup is at Tradeify. You kind of just gotta wait for that the dashboard to update currently. So let me just look at my list to refresh my memory, right? So yeah, so the next thing I'm going to talk about for my pros is I think Alpha Futures has better live conditions. So we're going to pull up the live conditions here, path to live, right? So if on a single qualified account, if you take 40K per account or 5 payouts, so this doesn't go by per trader. If I blow all my accounts, like it's going to be 40K per account or 5 payouts on these fresh accounts, right? It doesn't stand by you as a trader where it does a Tradeify. So they even talk about this. They says, once a trader's simulated qualified account is closed, Alpha Futures will process 50% of the account profit up to a max withdrawal of each account. So they're pretty much giving you like one last payout. They're saying with other firms, 50% and sometimes all of sim profits are voided lost. So like they're talking about firms like Tradeify here, right? And it says it becomes your risk on the account with the firm contributing nothing, right? I mean, Tradeify does say that they contribute the 2K, but it's like you're still forfeiting your sim profits, right? So they say they believe live traders should be more of a partnership. So the way they handle live, they're going to split the risk with you. So the trader contributes 5K from payable sim balance. The firm contributes 5K and the trader receives a 10K static drawdown account. So like for example, at Top Step, they're talking about making people earn access to all of their live funding, right? And giving them access to 20% at first. Alpha is not doing anything of the such. If anything, they're funding you, right? Also, the leftover, like so the rest of leftover balance after 5K is allocated to risk and payouts, right? So they're going to pay you out and allocate the rest to risk. If there's anything left over to that money is still not going to disappear like it does at Tradeify, right? So again, right, the other balance is usually voided or erased, but what they're going to do is they're going to pay you a monthly salary. So yes, they're still forcing you to like work for it. You essentially need to just keep performing on your live account and you'll eventually earn that salary over 12 months. But it's cool that like all these sim profits aren't just avoided, right? And also, if you guys aren't familiar with Alpha Prime, even once you become live with Alpha, it's not like it stops there. Like Alpha has the infrastructure to really nurture their good traders. So like what Alpha Prime is they have an actual trading floor in London. Because like if we read right here, see it says opportunities to visit the Alpha Prime trading floor in London. And Yeah, like you no news trading restrictions, no consistency, daily payouts, monthly salary. And another thing that really sticks out to me, it says weekly calls with Alpha Prime managers for strategy development, refinement, risk management, and market analysis. We want to see you win. So like think about it. Like if you got hired at an actual prop firm, they would be nurturing you as a trader trying to improve how you trade, right? So like Tradeify, if they move you to live, it's not like you're getting anyone to talk to like a prime manager, but at Alpha, they're nurturing their traders, improving them, right? And like why are they doing this? It's like they funded you. And also one thing I do want to bring up, I know some people like to focus. It says the profit split on live accounts in addition to the monthly salary is 60%. So I feel like people think, "Oh, it's a live account. Why am I getting 60%?" They're giving you 60% because you put in 5K and they put in 5K. So 50% is a payout from your half, and then they actually are giving you a portion of their profit split. So it's like you're trading your own 5K and you're making a small part of the portion of money you make with their money. They're giving it back to you, right? So I think it's really cool. And it says, as opposed to others in the industry where you're performing 50% with a 90% split, right? It's essentially saying like, they make it better for you to stay live at alpha compared to sim farming. Because like if you have this skill where you could sim farm, like some people like to sim farm and blow accounts, go back to eval. But here they're saying like you're only gonna withdraw 50% of your account balance with a 90% split. Here, like which results to 45% of your profits. But here you get uncapped withdrawals with a 60% split, plus monthly salary, plus support from our professional traders, and you're getting career opportunities with Alpha Prime. So the live conditions are essentially unmatched at Alpha. So like I feel like they both have their own advantage and disadvantages. I wouldn't say that either firm is like predatory toward traders. It's more just they're structured different ways, right? Like each firm has its own benefits. But um, yeah, for alpha, and then for cons for alpha, because that was all the pros. Honestly, for the only cons I could really think of is they have no straight to funded accounts. They have no daily payout accounts. And also, I feel like the accounts are a little expensive. Like, because on the zero accounts, they have a payout cap, which is low key kind of low. And I feel like if you want a higher payout cap, you end up spending like a decent amount of money, honestly. But I feel like that's the thing where it's like if you want a really like rock solid firm, you get what you pay for with prop firms, right? Higher payout cap, solid firm. You kind of got to pay the price, right? But honestly, I really couldn't think of too many cons for alpha. But yeah, that was pretty much like pros and cons of each firm. So we're just gonna go back for me to give my conclusion real quick, just wrap up, and I want to explain which firm is better for what type of trader. So that was a lot of information. Honestly, I feel like it was jam-packed with value. If you guys do have any questions on anything I said, feel free to drop any comments down below. I'll be happy to clarify. So I'm going to talk about which type of trader would each firm be better for. So if you're a beginner trader, you have very minimal payouts. Honestly, I really think you should go for Tradeify. I say this for a couple of reasons. So the first reason is they have daily payout account options, right? So I always tell new traders the second you get to the point where you could request a payout, just request the payout. Like sometimes you need more winning days, sometimes you got to make more money to satisfy a consistency rule. None of those things are true at Tradeify. And I feel like the only drawback of like that select plan is on the evaluation, there's like the 40% consistency rule. But I am always telling new traders, like, hey, take the evaluation slow. Like if you're risking heavy on evaluations, that's how you lose a lot of money to these prop firms very quickly. So if anything, it forces you to de-risk on eval. It gives you the option of daily payouts, so you can take the payout ASAP. So honestly, if you're a new trader with little to no payouts, I think the select plan daily payouts is a no-brainer for you. So also, if let's say for some reason you just have beef with like evaluations, you just want to go straight to funded, Tradeify has an option as well, like Lightning funded. But me personally, I really don't think the growth plan at Tradeify is that good of an offering overall. I know it might work good for some traders, but me personally, I really am not a fan of that 35% consistency rule on the actual funded account. I think if you do want to pass in one day, the zero plan in alpha allows you to do the same thing. They have a little bit better of a consistency rule where it's 40% instead of 35, and it's also a little cheaper. So if you're like a one-day passer, I do think alpha is better. But for the trader, alpha is really built for overall though, right? So obviously they have the zero plan, it's cheapest. You can do the 1 day pass like I just mentioned, but if you're a really seasoned trader, you are confident in your trading, you are trying to make a career out of trading, I think alpha is the best option for you. So the reason I say that is, let's say you're actually getting to the point of you getting multiple payouts. You don't have to worry about with Tradeify, like they count payouts per trader. You don't have to worry about that. You could get a couple payouts on account, blow it, and your counter gets reset. And also, once you do get moved to live, you wouldn't have to worry about the sim profits kind of being erased or anything like that. I just feel like Alpha Futures has better live conditions. And then even past those live conditions, they offer Alpha Prime, which like allows you actual like professional career opportunities. It allows you to get in touch with like a professional like Alpha Prime manager, and you can get like psychology support and stuff like that, like discipline support, right? They can give you how to improve, right? And they have weekly calls, right? Which is really cool to see. It's almost like as a prop firm trader, like a retail prop firm trader, like someone like me, right? It's very hard for me to get my foot in the door into the real prop firm trading space. Like, because these prop firms, they're basically a joke compared to the real prop firms. Like on Wall Street, like those are the real prop firms. Like, so this right here is actually a stepping stone where you could actually get into an actual like prop firm. Like, yes, it might be in London. I feel like if you're in the US like me, it might be like, oh, well, it's not really mean that much to me. But regardless, you can still have those weekly calls over the internet, right? But I mean, I'm assuming those calls would be over the internet. I actually don't have any confirmation, but it's basically just cool if the option is there, right? Like, you don't even have to utilize it, but it's just cool the option's there. So yeah, so pretty much if you're a beginner trader, I recommend Tradeify. If you're a really advanced trader, I recommend Alpha. But at the end of the day, you really can't go wrong with either firm. They are both great firms, and there's a lot of worse options out there. Like, it's not like I'm going to start naming names, but there are firms that are so much worse than both these firms. Like, these, honestly, in my opinion, are like in the top 3 of prop firms out right now. And that's why I'm partner with both them. So one last time, I will remind you guys, if you do want to pick up any accounts with either Alpha Futures or Tradeify, you're welcome to use my discount code, which is code TIMB272. It's going to get you wherever the best current discount is. So definitely check out either firm, whichever one stands out best for you. Like, honestly, I can't tell you which one's best, but throughout this video, I hope one of them stood out to you. And I feel like you would know deep down which one aligns more with your values as a trader. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. So if you guys watch this video all the way through, I really appreciate it. I hope I was able to give you some value. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Also subscribe. And if you didn't know, I do live trade every single week, Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I trade Nasdaq Futures. So you guys are welcome to pull up to that. And you're also welcome to join my free Discord. I'm going to put that link down below as well. You guys are welcome to tag me anytime, ask me any questions. I'm definitely trying to get that community popping. I've already got like 300 people in there right now. But yeah, so that was pretty much all I've got to say. I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Best of luck in your trading, and peace out.